We're moving on to the final session of the day, and to invite the guests on stage. We're moving on to the guests. The topic of the session would be facilitating regional trade by improving multimodal connectivity and expanding the hinterland. To preside over the plenary session, I'd like to invite our dear beloved chairman, Shri K. Mohandas, on stage. I would also like to read out the profiles of our next speakers in the best interest of time. Mr. Kapil Mohan, IAS, CEO, Karnataka Maritime Board and Additional Chief Secretary, Revenue Department, Government of Karnataka, will be joining us. Mr. Mohan is a 1990 batch IAS officer from Karnataka cadre and is currently the CEO of the Karnataka Maritime Board. Prior to current position, he was Additional Chief Secretary to Government, Food, Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Department. His academic qualifications include BSc, MBA, PGDIM, MPP from Princeton University, USA, Certificate in Science, Technology and Environmental Policy, again from Princeton University, USA. Mr. Kapil Mohan, IAS, may I kindly request you to please. While I move on to our next panelists of the day, Mr. Satya Pratap Shastri, IRTS. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shastri. Yes, here he is. Let's give him a loud round of applause. Mr. Shastri is an officer of Indian Railway Traffic Service, IRTS, 1990 batch, a mechanical engineering graduate from Aligarh Muslim University. He joined Southern Railway as a junior scale officer in 1992 and has held various positions of importance in Indian Railways and railway PSUs. Some of the prominent positions held include Chief Freight Transportation Manager, Southwestern Railway, Chief Commercial Manager, Freight Marketing, Southwestern Railway, Executive Director, PP&D, Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, New Delhi, and Chief Manager, Concord, Bangalore. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome all the three gentlemen that I announced earlier on stage. Thank you so much for joining us. And now allow me to welcome Mr. Nagraj Shetty, Managing Director, Shri Ganesh Shipping Agencies. Shri Nagraj Shetty is a former Minister of Karnataka between 2006 and 2008 and was an MLA from 2004 to 2009 from South Karnataka. Mr. Shetty also served as the chairman with cabinet rank of Coastal Development Authority for 3.5 years for the development of coastal districts in Karnataka. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nagraj Shetty joining us on the plenary session. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We also have two gentlemen joining us virtually.
How are you? See, I finally waited.
Mr. Kapil Mohan has joined us. Thank you so much, sir.
I know you, sir. I was DC here. He's also
Welcome, sir. We've already welcomed you officially. Thank you for joining us on the panel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have two guests who will be joining us virtually. Dr. A.V. Ramana, Chairman, New Mangalore Port Trust, and Mr. Surendra Ahirwar, IRTS Joint Secretary, Logistics and Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Both of them will be joining us virtually. Let me also invite on stage Mr. Rajesh Pujari, Assistant Commissioner, GST Commissionerate, Mangalore. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him on stage to join the panel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is all set. Mohandas, sir, the floor is open for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So you already heard me and Mr. Shivashailam. So we will come in towards the end. So the first speaker now will be Mr. Kapil Mohan, CEO of the Karnataka Maritime Board. Please. You can either go there or, yeah, whichever way you are comfortable.
Ellarige namaskara. Good evening to all of you. To most of those who are from Mangalore, I am a familiar face, I hope. And of course, on the dais, we have Mr. Nagraj Shetty, who is a former Union Minister, an old colleague in the district. And I've seen Mr. Nagraj Shetty over many personalities. Also, he's a shipper, as far as I remember. You have a very large shipping agency. Then my seniors are here, Mr. Mohan Das, former Union Shipping Secretary. Sir, I also had the occasion to spend some part of my life in very originally named Transport Bhavan, sir. So, in Government of India, when they run out of names, they name it after whatever the purpose is, Shakti Bhavan, Transport Bhavan, so on and so forth. So, the transport. And then, of course, our senior colleague, and I hope I have not made a faux pas in the protocol by taking his third name, Mr. Shiv Shailam, who has been our friend, senior, and who has been guiding us in our careers till now, who's retired as Special Secretary Logistics. And in this position, I am referring to him. He's also presently serving as member of the Karnataka State Administrative Tribunal. His love and affection for the logistics field can be evidenced by the fact that he has taken off his black robes and chosen to be here for the evening. And then, of course, Mr. Shastri, who has been interacting with me over the last few years in his various avatars in the railways. And then Mr. Pujari, the GST Commissionerate. So a very welcome, and to all those who are gathered over here. It's my pleasure to be here, and Mr. Mohandas has asked me to talk in the very first. I will venture a little bit of repetition for those who are familiar here. And then, of course, I do wish that there will be some interaction later on, and if there are some things which we can make to life more simple for our people, we'll try to do that. I am here as the founder, Chief Executive Officer of Karnataka Maritime Board, which I'm still over here. The purpose of setting the Karnataka Maritime Board was to bring on a common platform the needs of the whole maritime sector, which could very simply, if we keep it there, is port logistics, fisheries, tourism, and many other related activities. So all the stakeholders can interchange views, and we can also take an integrated view of development of this sector. There are, of course, many subsets of to those, and there are many people who have worked on these areas much more than me at the earlier. Karnataka, we were a laggard in the sense, which is a fact, and we had not set up our maritime board. We are one of the last states to set it up. So there was some disquiet in our hearts. Suffice to say that in the time since we have put it up in the last 2 years, it's been almost 2 years plus, we have done some significant works, and projects at hand are today almost touching almost like 1,000 crores. You will be seeing them as they work. We try to keep a low profile. Unwanted welcome attention is not appreciated in government, and we are doing that work. We would like to expand our footprints, not only for development of the state harbors, state ports and other things, but also to do hinterland linkages, some of which I will like to mention as we go along. Secondly, what we have also done in my Maritime Board has been to propose some modernization of other related activity. Our focus remains ports and logistics in the fields of fishing, and now, of course, I am also holding charge of tourism, so we would do, tourism is a bit less part of the Maritime Board, but we will also like to do that. We are also adopting an approach for public-private partnership. One port is coming in Honavar, which some of you might be knowing, which was originally slated to be 2 million ton MTPA. Now they are proposing to revise to 5. Seeing what we have been done as far as multimodal connectivity to the hinterland is concerned. 2 requests for proposals have been floated for setting up ports in Karwar. One is at Kini and one is at Pawan Karve. So I can assure you that Kini, Belikeri Kini, if you want to know, but we have removed the word Belikeri because it has certain negative connotations. Okay, so we re-christened it as Kini. So it will emerge as a hub later on. It will emerge as a hub because we have a port, not only a port, but an airport also, civil terminal coming up at Ankola, and also Railways is planning something, a long pending proposal which we have been pursuing and which I will update you as we go along. So we will have hinterland rail connectivity, coastal rail connectivity, we will have airport, we will have a port, and we will have obviously our NH66. So all in one place should hopefully make for some efficiency gains as far as logistics is concerned. In addition to the exercise which we have taken on our 320-kilometer coastline, which hitherto had been neglected, we had only one New Mangalore Port Trust, which is a port which is here. Apart from that, we really did not have any entry ports on such a long coastline, though we had it. So we are trying to redress that imbalance, and I assure you that we will have many entry points which will be there. Coming to the issues of connectivity, we have, as we know, a natural barrier. We have a long coastline, then we have Western Ghats, and then we have what is known as plateau of the southern India. Now the Western Ghats pose a geographical challenge which we need to traverse to have hinterland connectivity. Not the Konkan Railway, which was set up, of which Karnataka is also a stakeholder, could only provide the longitudinal linkage between Mumbai to Kochi. But it has to cross the Western Ghats to go into the industrial hinterland where more minerals and industries and manufacturing facilities are available. Also the availability of land to such activities. Now the only linkage which we have is from Hassan-Mangalore railway line. There are attendant problems of that, one of which is the very steep gradient. It's a chicken and egg position because of its very steep gradients, limited potential to operate. We don't have much cargo. We don't have much cargo because we don't have much infrastructure. So that cycle needs to be broken. But suffice to say, despite all the efforts which we mentioned, the scope for Hassan-Mangalore railway line to be enhanced point a point is limited. And in any case, it serves the southern part of Karnataka. It goes to Hassan and hence to Bangalore. The other one which has been pending for long and which I believe all the persons who are in the industry and trade should also support us in this matter has been linking of Ankola Hubli railway line, and which makes great sense because it reduces our distance from the Gulf to the Deccan Plateau, which is more mineral rich. More of the larger plants, bigger power plants actually are in the northern and central Karnataka. In future also, it is bound to grow over there. So that had been in the cold storage for long for various reasons. But I'm very happy to know, to share with you that after 1.5 years of sustained efforts, non-stop hammering here and there, it has picked up a life of its own. And it does seem that it may be soon a reality. Here I would like to put a disclaimer. It is not that when we are talking of infrastructure building over here, we have any issues with the environmental concerns, which are very genuine. We appreciate that the need to preserve the biodiversity of the Western Ghats is paramount, and it is irreplaceable, and cannot be measured in the financial terms. But we should not pit the debate of environment versus development to the detriment of our national requirements and the needs. We can ameliorate these things, and all the solutions which have been proposed for Hubli-Ankola railway line operationalization, I can assure you, if any of you have such concerns, that we have taken the ameliorative steps and the environmental impact or the footprint has been minimized, and we fully recognize that that is a very paramount need. Thereafter, once we cross our state, we obviously go to Goa, and then, the fate of four-laning from there to Londa is well known to all, and as of now it is stuck because of, again, environmental concerns. Now this acted as a barrier. In addition to that, we also had connectivity issues on the road front, and we are upgrading the roads. I do not want to bore you with name of the projects. I'm very allergic to PowerPoint presentations, so I don't want to inflict one upon you. But suffice to say that all the roads which cross from the NH66, originate from here and go to central Karnataka are proposed to be upgraded. Now all of this, you must have figured out by now, is coming under the Gati Shakti program, which is basically a mega planning exercise, which we had these elements and we have roped them together so that this becomes a whole. The various elements of these are being considered, and you will be seeing many of these activities being taken as far as the road development is concerned in the next couple of years at best. Many of them are at quite advanced stages and have got in principle approval. There are certain specific issues which are very pertinent to our existing port connectivity. I do not see Mr. Ramna over here, New Mangalore Port Trust. Okay, there you go. So generally, so on his behalf, they have some issues regarding road transport. From the port to this, there are something jams and all. So we need to provide you a linkage which would be dedicated. So we have had discussions with the National Highway Authority of India. DPR has been almost prepared. There were certain issues of land acquisition, which state government has been, we have agreed also. And I think the work should start very soon, and we will be having that. Apart from that, what NMPT has been doing, I'm sure Mr. Ramna would share with you. Our Prime Minister was here on 11th. A slew of the projects had been inaugurated. Some more are going to be done. I also sit on the board. We know about it. There is a movement towards containerization, movement towards moving away from pure bulk to break bulk cargo as well. To feed our industrial needs, we would like to do that. With this, also, I would like to add that on the maritime front, we also are taking steps to improve our fisheries and some elements of tourism. I will not go into detail over there, but we recognize that the improvement of the livelihood of the people of the region, also at our last level, is also paramount. So we are going to take, we are concerned of that. Various jetties, dedicated jetties, processing center, brand new fishing harbor at Majali, that is very near to Goa, between Karwar and Goa, all are under process of implementation. There are various floating jetties, so on and so forth, all will be done. I'm also very happy to tell you that we have revitalized the manufacturing in our area, shipbuilding, a limited, lesser level of shipbuilding. So the Tabma and shipyard, which was in Malpe at Hangarkatte, both have been now handed over to Cochin shipyard. Hangarkatte, we have started doing the LCVs, and also some other major projects are being planned. The Hangarkatte facility will be expanded in a large way. The Tabma one obviously will remain dedicated towards LCVs and fishing vessels. Also, we have a defunct unit here, which has been pending for almost a decade. I think it has gone through its all tortuous routes and to the NCLT, and I'm talking about Bharti Shipyard. So we should be able to revitalize the manufacturing also in that portions. Coming to the end of this, if there are any more suggestions which people would like to have to improve the multimodal connectivity, to move towards more efficient movement of goods in transport and people, if there are any suggestions, we are more than welcome. There are people who have worked at national levels. We have also now become a subset of that, thanks to the Gati Master Plan. We are now placing ourselves and situating ourselves in a logistical framework which goes beyond our state's boundaries. I mean, so that is what we have done. If there are any such suggestions, I would be more than welcome to take note of that. With these words, I would take your leave, and I would very much be over here, and I look forward to hearing from my esteemed colleagues on the dais. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kapil Mohan. The Maritime Board is a new entity as far as Karnataka is concerned, and I'm very happy to hear that you have concrete plans for doing whatever is necessary to facilitate the development of the logistics, particularly related to the coastal logistics. Well, now the next speaker is a very important officer in the logistics setup, Mr. Surendra Ahirwar, Joint Secretary, Logistics and Trade in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. He'll be joining virtually. Welcome, Mr. Surendra Ahirwar. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhir, and good evening to all. Good evening, the glitterati I can see on this dais. Mr. Shivasailam sir, Kapil Mohan sir, it's really a matter of great pleasure for me to be speaking in the midst of you, and I'm really missing that place. I would have been there physically. I should have been there, in fact, and but I could not make it because of very important other engagements here. Since my special secretary has also gone on a promotion, so there's no very, of course, today we have got the orders also, so for the special secretary. But yes, because of extreme business here, I could not make it, so sorry for that, and really missing this occasion. At the outset, let me congratulate this initiative of India Sea Trade and the Cargo Connections Conclave, which has been organized. I think it's a regular feature on a every 2-year frequency, which has been organized. And thank you very much for having me as well here. I would just like to inform, and which may be already known to all the gentlemen here on the dais and also maybe the audience. There's been the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, which has been launched, and there's a special focus on the maritime sector, and especially focusing on development of multimodal logistics infrastructure. And I think ports qualify to be the first the first and the most extensive multimodal logistics terminal, and therefore it is hugely getting a focus through National Master Plan also. And pursuing the same focus, we have, in course of time, like last 1 month or so, we have done a very thorough analysis and assessment of the connectivities of different kinds, transport connectivity, maybe the railway connectivity, road connectivity, and even inland waterways connectivity to various ports. And we have identified the infrastructural gaps, and almost 107 numbers of infrastructural gaps have been identified, which pertain to various major and non-major ports in the country. And Mangalore Port also figures in that list, and 3 projects or the infrastructural gaps have been identified for the Mangalore Port as well. And these projects, which are identified as infrastructure gaps, have been assigned to different ministries, like Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Port and Shipping, Ministry of Road and Highways. So they would be now converting these identified infrastructural gaps into the projects, which would be called as PM Gati Shakti projects. And maybe they may be included in the announcement, or the budget announcement, which may be made this year. So we are proposing to get these projects included as a priority projects in the coming budget also. Further, there has been a facilitatory mechanism under the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan itself for monitoring all those projects which are related to the ports, be it a connectivity project for the ports or the ports expansion. And these, through this project monitoring group, all these projects are being monitored at the highest level, and whatever problems and issues relating to this project which are coming in the way of implementation of the project are being resolved through this mechanism. And this is probably, we have seen giving a very good result and expediting the implementation of the projects. And further, we know that recently we have launched the National Logistics Policy also. This also focuses on developing multimodal logistics infrastructure in form of ICDs, CFSs, and also provide that digitization push to operate all the logistics infrastructure, including the ports. And accordingly, a platform with the name of ULIP has been launched, to which the port community systems are also integrated, and they would be further integrated to have a complete pan-India coverage, covering all the ports, irrespective of their size. So all port community system and national that maritime logistics portal is also being developed. So that shall also be integrated to the ULIP. In addition, we are also having a mechanism of issues resolution, which can be considered as logistics-related issues, wherein more than one ministry is involved. And this mechanism is being called as Service Improvement Group, which is under the new policy or new National Logistics Policy, is to be constituted formally and would be notified. This Service Improvement Group is going to be further assisted by a digital dashboard wherein all the association in the logistics sector, be the service provider or maybe the infrastructure developers also, they can register the issues relating to the sector and seek solution or resolution through multi-ministerial consultation, which is going to be facilitated through this dashboard or the SIG. These issues may be also, beyond the issue, there can be suggestions also, which can be considered or made by the associations and seen by the government. Various ministries can be brought together for necessary consultation, and then adoption of a particular suggestion after its due examination. There is also a lot of opportunities being thrown up through this National Logistics Policy, be it for development of infrastructure, making the processes of the ports more efficient, and also development of logistics parks or warehouses, or adding other value-added services to the ports to make them truly multimodal logistics parks. And of course, any other suggestion or the proposal which may be considered by this forum also, we can definitely consider through the SIG mechanism under the National Logistics Policy, or maybe we can consider as a project under PM Gati Shakti after its due examination by the concerned ministry, that is Ministry of Port and Shipping. So I think with this small information capsule, I would thank once again the Cargo Connection team and the India Sea Trade for organizing this conclave and also having me here for this interaction. And in case you have any question, any clarification which we may be able to give, I would just request and invite whatever question if you want to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Surendra Ahirwar. Mr. A.V. Ramana is to come online because he is in Goa. He is also the chairman of the Goa port also. Do we have him now?
Yes, he's there.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
Can I come in?
Yeah, please come in. Please come in. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening to all the members of the maritime trade, particularly the multimodal community who are now operating or meeting at city of Mangalore. As we all know, our country has a dream of reaching $5 trillion economy by the year 2025 and $60 trillion economy by 2047 during the Amrit Kaal. The preparatory activity for this has already started as back as 8 years. The ports modernization, digitization, liberalization, including connectivity, and also digitization in the associated ministries and departments like customs, digi-shipping, was kick-started 8 years back. The projects like Sagarmala, Bharatmala, quadrilateral triangle roads, and now many other projects like freight corridor had started in silos, like different buckets. Recently, last year, the government of India, to ensure a organized ecosystem for all-round development, they have started this Prime Minister Gati Shakti platform, which is a digital platform where 18 ministries are members, group of secretaries are there, network group is there, project monitoring group is there. The main intention and focus of this is to reduce the transportation cost, to reduce the logistic cost. In India, the transportation cost is almost double digit. The main intention of doing all these things is to bring down the logistic cost or transportation cost to single digit, so that the exim cargo from our country to the globe will become competitive, so that we can make much more foreign reserves revenue, so that 140 crores of Indian population, their standard of living will improve, the GDP growth will be there, and we get more and more employment. That's the broader story of the smaller story which we are talking now. As a part of this, there is a grand plan to attract $1.2 trillion manufacturing base to India. When all these things are placed in place and the basic infrastructure, particularly the connectivity and ports, are improved, and when the ports move from major ports to smart ports to mega ports, we expect a lot of industries to shift from China, Taiwan, and also European countries to India. That's the broader line of the story. Now, coming to major port sector, some of the major ports are well connected, and some of the ports are suffering because they are not properly connected. The story of Mangalore Port, New Mangalore Port, is a typical example where the port is suffering because of poor connectivity. Rather, I will put it as bad connectivity. The port has a capacity of 78 million metric tons. We have 16 berths. We have one SPM. We are ISO 9001, 14001. We have our own. We are able to contribute 4,200 plus crores of rupees to the customs. 78% of the cargo is captive, 22% is non-captive. Now the real story begins. The container cargo, we are expecting to double. And if you see the non-captive cargo, that is cargo other than from MRPL, KOCL, and MCF, is increasing day by day, in spite of having the constraint of poor, bad connectivity. As we all know, Mangalore port is connected by NH66, Cochin, Mangalore, Goa, NH75, Mangalore, Hassan, Bangalore with Shiradi Ghats, NH275, Mangalore, Mysore, Sampaji Ghats, NH73, Mangalore, Tumukur, Charbadi Ghat, NH169, Mangalore, Shimoga. Here the story, the connectivity of Mangalore port with Bangalore and Mysore because of the Western Ghats is very, very poor. The roads are not seasonal roads. They should be all-season roads, but they are not all-season roads. Particularly from the month of August to November, we lose a lot of cargo because of this bad connectivity. But I am very thankful to the government of Karnataka, and also I am very thankful to Ministry of Road Transport, because when we had taken up the issue persistently with these two, there is a result. In fact, Gadkari Sahab has acted very promptly on this. The road between Bantwal and Dharmasthala, which is around 45 kilometers, is expected to become all-weather road, all-season road with 4 lanes by November 2023. Similarly, the other stretch on the Sampaji, Dharmasthala to Adahal, 15 kilometer stretch, is expected to complete by September 2023. And similarly, Maranhalli to Hassan, which is around 45 kilometers, is also expected to complete by March 2023. If everything goes well, because already the work orders are placed and the work is in progress, by 2023, the road connectivity between Mangalore to Mysore and Bangalore will become all seasonal, and we expect the cargo to flow continuously. So now we will be expecting 40 million metric tons. I am very sure after 2023, we will reach 50 to 55 million metric tons of cargo, because I am proud to say Mangalore port is one of the few major ports which is continuously making profits in spite of all these obstacles. Our operating ratio is 39.2, which is at par with any other private Adani port or Mundra port. Our staff strength is just 381, which is also at par with a private port. Our processes, procedures, quickness, fastest digitization is also at par with private ports. The time taken for a truck to get cleared at the gate, including the custom clearance, is less than 2 minutes at Mangalore port. Recently, we have modernized our Malya gate, and we are planning to modernize our SJ gate and KK gate also. With this, the further movement of cargo into port, out of port also will be very smooth and less than 2 minutes. And with the blessings of the state and center, with better connectivity through roads, we expect more cargo from Bangalore and Mysore. If you think other way also, the travel time between Mangalore to Bangalore is 12 hours, whereas to Chennai 15 and Krishnapatnam 18. In spite of that, all the cargo is going to Krishnapatnam from Bangalore and Mysore and also Chennai. The reason is smooth, better connectivity, nothing else. And in fact, we are far more efficient than some of the non-major ports. But after 2023, I expect a change in the story and the cargo to move more towards Mangalore. I am very confident about it. Here, I would also like to place that there is a need to double the railway line between Hassan to Mangalore, Hassan to Subramanya. Railway department, railway ministry says that why unviable, there is sufficient cargo is not there. Actually, this is all doesn't go well with planning. The basic planning globally says that the infrastructure should wait for the business. The business can't wait for the infrastructure. This is the high time we change our thought process. We should, when we talk, compare, try to compete with the global market, with the global countries, we should also think like them and act like them. So there is no point in saying that there is no cargo, already lines are not fully utilized, there is full scope, there is still scope, there is no need to make a double line between Subramania Hassan. I am not convinced. No technocrat will agree with that. No businessman will agree with that. This is the high time that we should open our eyes and act fast before losing the business further. Now coming to the other part of the story, the Adahale to Hegade, there is a 21-kilometer stretch which needs to be made into a tunnel. In fact, I happened to discuss the issue with the state government also, with the Ministry of Road Transport also, and also Gadkari Saab in person. And he also has promised that he will look into it very positively. I am very sure with the great initiative from the government of Karnataka and also the catalyzation from Gati Shakti, this tunnel happens, we should also add a railway line into it so that the road, rail, everything will become smooth and seamless between Mysore, Bangalore to Mangalore. This is not only for the port, this is not only for the business, this will be helpful for the common man also. The connectivity which we are talking about now between port cities and different consumption centers is not just for the business, is not just only for the transportation. It helps the common man, the citizen of India. We should also think of the citizens of the country. I am very sure with the great initiatives being taken by the center and the catalyzation being done at the state level, these things will happen. And as we all know, Karnataka is the very progressive state. And I'm very confident with the great work and initiatives being taken by the state government and the contribution. 7, the connectivity not only with Mangalore port but also with all the non-major ports of Karnataka will be very smooth and seamless, and we expect more exim cargo to be handled through not only through Mangalore port but also through the different non-major ports across the Karavali port. And also I would like to place one more thought process. There is a lot of demand. There is a lot of great demand for tourism, particularly cruise industry. The government of Karnataka and tourism ministry, and also if required NMA also, we should think forward and try to establish a dedicated cruise port where the cruise liners only will come. It will be exclusively for tourism, and it will be connected through other parts of the Karnataka and country by air, through heli taxis and also through dedicated aerodrome. I think this also can work out. With this, I am very thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, because I also look after the Goa port today, and yesterday I'm in Goa. So that's why I could not attend physically, though I love to attend physically. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ramana, for finding time to join, even though you are far away, busy with other work. Our next speaker is Mr. Rajesh Pujari, Assistant Commissioner of GST. Additional, okay.
Thank you, Mohandas ji. Respected members on the dais, my friend Nagaraj Shetty. I see a galaxy of persons assembled here, and they're very familiar to me because I have worked with all of them. Jiten Sikwera, Shekhar Pujari, Nityanand Anna, Praveen Bangera. Complete audience appears to be like my friend. My commissioner today told me that I have to attend this session because both the CGST Commissioner Imamuddin sir and Reena Shetty madam would not be able to attend. I said that in the presence of these distinguished speakers and participants, I may be a person who might not be appropriate. He said, you have 30 years of customs experience, and you would be the right person to brief the participants here if any question comes up. The agenda of the day, connecting hinterlands, is, as the doyen speakers here mentioned, has been the cherished objective of this nation for a very long time. In the last 30-odd years of my service in the department, I have seen the department moving from a manual system to a digitalized platform, a system where ports were enlarged, ports were connected, and trade and port users somehow totally transformed themselves, revolutionized themselves into the system that this country carried forth. And today we are into a digital era. And I'm sure that my friends here, Nagaraj ji and Shekhar Anna, Jiten, Praveen, Nityananda Anna, they will agree. It's a complete transformation. The transformation has been in such a speed that many of us could not actually keep abreast to it. But the platform last time that they were saying that we have to do what has to be done. COVID taught us that digitalization can make every individual work from home. Actually, when in March 21st, 2020, when the first lockdown was announced, I was in customs, and at that time, we were declared to be essential services. Along with us, all the port users were also essential services. We used to come to the port. It was a deserted road. Everybody is smiling. And we had the good fortune of using the roads in those times, come to the port, but there was no work. Because as the last panelist mentioned, everything was on a shutdown. But things evolve, people adapt, and somehow or the other, we come to a consensus that work has to go on. And work actually happened. Somehow in the next 2 or 3 months from May onwards, slowly, steadily, the airport started opening for essential services again. The NMPT did a fantastic job of allowing in ships for COVID purpose only. But it happened. And today when we are sitting down here, we understand that we are going to move into an era of complete transformation of this country in the next few decades. There's no doubt of it. And we have to keep abreast to it. The government of India has, in the last 20-odd years, always established hinterland connectivity. In fact, the CFS, ICDs, DPD, that is direct port deliveries, direct port entries, factory stuffing permissions, fantastic evolution in the last 20-odd years. And people from the hinterland who had to move to a far-off place to actually export or to get their import containers from, today have got ICDs and CFSs. I find Mangalore does not have adequate facility here. I worked in Nhava Sheva, I worked in Bombay, I worked in Kandla, I worked in Goa. I have come to Mangalore to work. And I've seen one thing in those states. Goa and Mangalore somehow appears to be similar, I will say. But CFS, ICD is a need of the hour. Connecting hinterlands is a need of the hours for this port. I am sitting here on behalf of CBIC. I will be most glad to accept any questions on that subject. Of course, now I am in CGST. CGST also, any questions can be directed at me. And if I can be of any usefulness here, I'll be most thankful. Thanks to Soma Chaudhary ji madam also for inviting me here. And let's have a pleasant and fantastic evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh Pujari. The next speaker is from one of the most important segments in the logistics activity, railways, Mr. Satyaprakash Shastri. Mr. Shastri is the Chief Freight Transportation Manager of Southern Railways.
Senior IAS officers on the dais, Mr. Mohandas, Mr. Sri Shailam, and Mr. Kapil Bohan, Mr. Ganesh Shetty, and everybody present here. I am now the CFTM Southern Railway, and I'm just one month and few days old there. But prior to that, I was the CFTM Southwestern Railway. So, with experience of Southwestern Railway and Southern Railway, one thing which, first of all, I would like to say is that Indian Railways today is on a complete changeover. You can say the type of infrastructure that is getting developed with every passing day has not been there for the last many years. And the second issue is with respect to railway electrification that is happening in a big way. And Southern Railway, almost all the routes are electrified except the branch routes. Whereas in Southwestern Railway, which was predominantly a diesel territory, is also getting electrified. And both these railways, Southern and Southwestern, since freight traffic used to be comparatively less as compared to the railways like Southeastern, Eastern, Southeast Central, East Coast. So the infrastructure, whatever you should have happened earlier, is happening now. Especially in Southwestern, if you take even the trunk route between Bangalore and Hubli continued to be single line. And now, by the end of this financial year, it is hoped that the entire section will get doubled. Similarly, the line between Hospet and Vasco is also getting doubled up to Castle Rock, but the Ghat section continues to be a single line there, that is Castle Rock, Kulem. So, and the other two stretches between Hodgi and Gadag and Miraj and Lodna are also getting doubled. And maybe another 2 years it may take, or maybe a year and a half, by the time the full electrification will take place in Southwestern Railway. With respect to Southern Railway, the situation is much better because the entire mainline stretches are already electrified. Today in Southern Railway, on an average, there are 150 AC engines on an average running for the freight traffic, whereas there are only 10 diesel engines moving for freight traffic. So you can understand that almost whatever those 10 diesel engines are used are mostly for the section towards Hassan, which is yet to be electrified. So this monitoring of these infrastructure projects in the last few years has been at the highest level. And even when I am speaking today, the situation is that we have traffic to carry, but we don't have sufficient wagons. And most of the traffic that is available for carrying is in the areas which are extremely congested, where on an average every 10 to 15 minutes there is a train. So there's no capacity left over there, especially in the Eastern, Southeastern and East Coast railways. So a situation has come, especially with after the post-COVID, there has been sudden requirement of power. And the year that has been passed, or rather I can say last 1 year or so, the situation has been extremely critical, where at the highest level, right at the Prime Minister's office, the power situation, especially with respect to coal requirements of thermal power plants, was being monitored. And we had sleepless nights over the last 1 year or so, where the coal levels in some of the thermal power stations had come down to a day and a half. And the NTPC, local state governments were waiting for a rake to come so that they don't shut down their power plants. We had a very heroic time. And at that time, it was realized that unless we improve our infrastructure, bottlenecks everywhere, and also go for more procurement of wagons, will not be, situation is not going to improve. And with that situation, what happened was that Southern Railway used to have a traffic potential of around 28 to 29 million tons, which has now this year we are likely to do almost 38 million tons. So the traffic has gone up, and mainly the imported coal which has come to almost all the major ports, including Mangalore also, where JSW has been bringing imported coal, and other cement plants are also bringing pet coke and other types of coal, so as to ease the situation. And today, even now, a situation had come where the Tamil Nadu thermal power plant at Mettu Dam could not get a ship for 3 days, and the stock level came down from 3 lakh tons to 1.2 lakh tons, with a daily consumption of 20,000 tons. So there was just 6 days cargo left. So now what is happening is that since it is becoming difficult to move coal through the all-rail route, they are adopting a rail-sea rail route. That is, the coal is coming from the Talcher area to Paradeep, and from Paradeep it is coming to one of the ports in the eastern sector, that is Karaikal or Kamarajar port, and from there it is carried so as to save time. The turnaround of the wagons is, unless it is improved, there is insufficient number of rakes to move and satisfy the demand for coal, which is our main commodity as far as Indian Railways is concerned. Now, coming to the point that whereas especially in box and rakes, that is which carries coal, limestone, gypsum and laterite and other commodities, mechanization has been done in a big way. Loading times has been reduced to almost less than 2 hours by introduction of silos. And similarly, unloading time have been brought down to 3 to 4 hours by having tipplers. But whatever we carry in covered stock, that is cement, fertilizer, food grain, DOC, and some other commodities, salt, it has to be carried by covered wagons. And these type of covered wagons mostly has been being dealt through manual labor. It is there that our situation is becoming bad. Whereas, especially if any of these covered rakes are being sent to any of the goods sheds during the afternoon times, then there is delay in unloading because there is no manual labor available. So a little bit of more technological these machines have been provided, especially with respect to Central Warehousing Corporation, wherein 2 of their warehouses they have provided some equipments. But still the main issue is with respect to manual unloading. For that, what again with the help of local Gati Shakti units that have been made in various divisions and the railways, most of the goods sheds where surfacing was an issue, their surfacing has been improved by providing this released sleepers from the rails, which are cement released sleepers, so that the surface is improved. And this has again added more traffic to us. So in a sense that that growth which we are today projecting in Indian Railways growth is almost to the tune of 10%, and which is not only in the commodity like coal but also in other commodities. This would have been much better, but certain decisions have been taken for the overall good of the country. Number one was the sudden, stoppage of export of wheat. The moment wheat was permitted for export, actually it was to be exported from various ports. Almost 10,000 rakes demand were put in various goods of Northern Railway, Northeastern Railway, mainly due to the Ukraine crisis. And the moment the government came to know that a situation may come where we will not have enough wheat for ourselves, so we had to stop these wheat exports. Secondly, we had to stop our atta. The flour also had to be certain limitations had to be put so that that export is stopped. Then we found out that, the government found out that steel prices were continuously rising. And that was a bigger part of the requirement for various infrastructural works. So they imposed an export duty on steel, and that affected the movement of steel for export. To curtail the export of iron ore, duty has been put, export duty on iron ore. And now limited export of rice is getting permitted, and sugar export quota is not being given fully. So all this, for the overall good of the economy, it has been done, but railway has been affected in the sense that our movement is not, you can say that both side movements are not happening. One side we have to move empties to the various ports to carry the imported commodities, but whereas our exports of these essential items which have been stopped. Coming to Mangalore, specifically it becomes a part of Southern Railway, but mostly the whatever commodities that are coming through the port are moving through the Southwestern Railway part. And it is true that there are constraints in the Hassan-Mangalore section because of the ghat, which is a 55-kilometer ghat, 1 in 50 gradient with more than 58 tunnels. There are serious constraints in running. So what we are presently doing is we have a potential of running almost 4 freight trains each way, 4 plus 4, but it is not being utilized fully. So what is actually moving is mainly like a cement which is moved from South Central Railway, not from Southwestern Railway, or something like a container, or a POL, BTPN, which is coming from Bangalore, that is empties coming from after unloading, that is LPG and POL. Similarly, in the direction from Bangalore side, only traffic that is moving is some coal which is going to South Central Railway and Central Railway side. So the full potential is not being utilized. That is, even the 4 plus 4 trains capacity that we are having is not being utilized fully. So if any cargo is available for movement, Southern Railway will be very happy to move it because they will get the originating loading, and Southwestern Railway will have no problems up to 4 plus 4. Only when it becomes more than that, only there is an issue of movement. And even Castle Rock Kolayam Ghat section, despite the best efforts taken by Southwestern Railway and RVNL, the clearance is yet to come. Environmentalists do not want the line to be doubled. So those issues are still there. Similar problems will come the moment Hassan-Mangalore is going to be taken up for doubling. Even as Mr. Kapil Mohan sir had told, the Hubli-Ankola project has been there for last many years. As on date, nothing is known, but hopefully something good may happen. But that section, if it is that line, if it comes, that will definitely, whatever help is there in evacuating cargo from the various new ports that are likely to come, That may be helpful. One more thing is that the Konkan Railway, which was developed, it was developed with a very large foresight. And it has been developed, why I say is that the gradient that has been given in this entire stretch of Konkan Railway is 1 in 150. And they have made sure that any number of freight trains movement is possible in this. There is no restriction as such. What freight train requires 4 engines for movement in Hassan-Mangalore section and 5 engines movement in Castle Rock Kulem section is possible with 2 engines on Konkan Railway section because of the gradient issues. And it is completely electrified now. Movement north to south is happening through this route. Even trains moving from Gujarat, Rajasthan, North India are moving via Konkan Railway for destinations south of Mangalore and even Tamil Nadu. There is no capacity constraint on this. Because foresight was adopted in making a railway track fit for all weather movement and all types of movement. But in the Ghat sections which are there, Castle Rock, Kulem and Hassan-Mangalore, even if doubling is done, the capacity will continue to be restricted. There will be no unlimited capacity here. Because there are severe constraints that safety is one of the important issues to be taken care of. So with this, I would like to end here. And thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Yeah, very good presentation. Thank you, Mr. Satyaprakash Shastri. Now, the next speaker in this session will also be the last speaker here. And of course, he's a very experienced person with several years of experience in the logistics business. And is also a leader in the politics, having been member of the state cabinet. So I invite Mr. Nagaraj Shetty to address us.
Good evening to all of you. Ellarigu namaskara. India's Sea Trade na this special session from afternoon till evening related to the logistics, especially our Honorable Prime Minister is having a very big vision on logistics. Especially we have to at par with other countries, especially China and other our competitors. As rightly so many our dignitaries have said, we are compared to China, our rate is double the cost. They are between 7 to 8%, we are 13 to 14% in cost. How costing is done, nobody knows, but anyway. But however, this great occasion, I am the last speak person, which today is this whole afternoon program, our chairperson as well as president of India Sea Trade, respected Sri K. Mohandas, IAS, retired, and also my good old friend. When I was a minister, he was a secretary, and the person who knows A to Z of logistics, which he studied very deeply, and he is not expecting anything. He wants our country's logistics to be put on the track. That is his wish. He studied and he has done a lot of suggestions to Government of India and also Government of Karnataka. My closest friend and as well as my mentor on logistics, Sri N. Srivastava IAS, and also one more senior IAS officer who was the Deputy Commissioner of Mangalore. Yesterday I was talking about him with the new DC has come taken over yesterday. So in front of him we had a meeting about the jumbo rate in Mudabidre, where more than 40,000 students are coming all over India and the world. That function I was remembering him because we had a common friend called I.A. Kairana. Always he used to trouble him. So I remembered him yesterday. So today you got a very big role to play, sir. on this particular occasion, because you got enough, because I always say, as a ex-minister, our country, although we are politicians, we are ministers, but actually our country ruled by the bureaucrats, which everybody should accept. So I'm telling you, this is out of the record. But however, because they are intellectual, intelligent, and also they know what to do and what not to do. Because they should have a vision, as rightly said, next 25 or 50 years. So same way, my friend who's a custom commissionerate on GST, Sri Rajesh Pujari Sahab, and also my one more good old friend who was a chief of Concord, Bangalore. Then he went to Hubli. He had 2 departments. He was trying for chairman of New Bangalore Port also 3-4 years back. So Sri Satya Prakash Shastri ji and all dignitaries here, especially my boss who's sitting here, Mr. Pradeep, Mr. Devaki Nandanji, and Mr. Pradeep and his teams, and also our friend, Mr. Walter D'Souza, all my New Bangalore Port senior officials, my shipping fraternity, especially our Association of Stevedores, Steamer Agency, and Customers Brokers Agency Association, and all the line operators who are the main lifeline of this port. If they didn't give container, we can't do anything. Same way I used to tell, if exporters and importers not there, we are jobless. So that is the reason these 2 people are a must for us. 1, they have to give the containers to us. 2, my exporter-importer should import and export the cargo from New Bangalore Port. Then only we'll get a job as well as bread and butter. So that is the reason most of the people are here, our port users. They are also happy, as rightly in the previous session said, most of the people are smiling. I said smiling, only people who are the shipping line operators who are sitting here. Others are not smiling properly. They are smile only, if you smile, they will smile. So all the dignitaries and special invitees, and also GSW, all the senior officials. I don't want to give a big speech because we are supposed to complete this session by 7:15. We are already delayed. However, I want to have a small certain points, which already I raised certain points during the various sessions. But however, today, all dignitaries on the dais, especially they are the active participation in this particular subject. Because this is a subject, as everybody knows, we born and brought up here, and we want to do some justice to this state. And this port, as rightly said, New Bangalore Port is a gateway of Karnataka. So gateway of Karnataka, by if I tell in the speech, is not enough. So what all things are required, it should be implemented fastly, and it should be time bound. On recent one meeting I said, same my railway senior officers here, and they said, we are slowly commencing Ankola Hubli railway line. I said, I'm listening from last 30, 40 years. I think during my lifetime it may not be completed. So however, now Kapil Mohan Saab has said, already cleared, we are ready now, we want to start. There was a confusion. Rajkumar was here in the last one meeting. He had a doubt whether it is a single line or double line. I said, already acquisition has done for 2 lines. So we can first you start with 1 line, then you'll go for the second line. So that's what, see, these are the important issues, because any logistics to cut down our expenses, certain things has to be there. Major issue is connectivity. If there is no proper road, in the last meeting I shouted on that National Highway officer, just complete that patchwork of Hassan to Heggadde, Sakleshpur. But nothing has happened. Day for yesterday I came from Bangalore only by car, but after reaching here I had a back pain. So this is the situation today, so which we have to be taken care, because connectivity is the most important, especially roads, railways. So railways also we have got certain plans, which we have to connect this Mangalore from various sources, so that instead of taking, as rightly my friend Mr. Pradeep said, Puvaya, that we are born and brought up in Karnataka, all our products are going from Chennai, Krishnapatnam, Visakhapatnam and Goa and other ports, Tuticorin, which our own state, we got a beautiful port, as rightly my chairman said, that We got all the facilities, infrastructure is there, but connectivity in a year, 12 months, as you know, now the rain started, earlier it used to come 3 to 4 months in a year. Now recently I met somebody in Bangalore. He says, don't worry Mr. Shetty, we will have a rain entire 12 months also. No summer for you. So this is a change in weather. So that's the reason during monsoon, all our, especially the Ghat section of Shiradi or our Madikeri Ghat or any, including all the Ghats, Charmadi Ghat, every Ghat will be stopped during this monsoon season for movement of our cargo and containers, which has to be taken special care, which I request Mr. Kapil Mohanji, who is in charge of the state for the minor ports also. I got certain suggestion for minor ports also, because we were operating in major port as a minor port of Karnataka. So basis on this certain connectivity problems, we have to take a special efforts and see that this should be time bound, because we are listening so many things from the various newspaper messages saying that there are 3,000 crores, here 2,000 crores, there are 4,000 crores. But when it will be implemented is most important, sir. I'm not talking here politics, because my beloved Prime Minister has made it very clear. And also, I'm happy to say that Mr. Nitin Gadkari Sahab, and when I met him, I used to meet regularly. When I met him first, he said, within 20 December, I'll make your Shiradi Ghat proper. I'll make a tunnel completely by spending 10,000 crores. So recently I told him, you only spoke, sir, nothing has happened. Then I suggested him, recent meeting also, my chairman also made that particular point, that tunnel should be 6 lane or 2 tunnels, as this thing, Salome said, one only for vehicles, one for railways, so that it is easy for us. So because under the new scheme of PM Gati Shakti, as you know, there is a connectivity of 16 ministers, 16 IAS officers, 16 batch of officers. Easily they can pass this such project, so that there should not be any problem. So under Gati Shakti, most of the members are here. I spoke to some of the members also in the last my own program. They said we are willing to pass, but you should route through your Karnataka state. Your member should be the one. Please request Kapil Mohan, put the agenda for the next meeting. So we'll pass it off, because these are the important issue. Because every year we are crying for that. 6 months we don't have any work. So that all our cargo will be diverted to Chennai or Navasheva or from other ports, especially containers. Including, I was telling to the Concor, why you are taking from Bangalore ICD to Chennai? Why can't you bring it to Bangalore? Of course, there is some restrictions are there. As rightly a railway officer, senior railway officer Shastri ji said, we have to make sure that this particular issue of logistics, cut down the expenses. We have to do the practical approach. As I said, while talking to senior officers, minute, including our chairman, the minute expenses which nobody bothers. I used to say one or two example I'll give you. I used to pay insurance for my vehicle maximum 29 to 30,000 rupees per year. Today it has gone to 60,000 per year per vehicle. Same way our toll gates. For one trip, earlier I used to take my vehicle to Karkal, there was no toll gate. Now I am spending more than about 2,000 rupees for the toll gates. Earlier also road was fantastic. Now there is no problem for the roads for me for going to Karkal. State highway is there, national highway is there. See, these are the additional expenses every day increasing. So that, how best we can cut. I suggested Nitin Gadkari Sahab, at least for export cargo, he waive that toll gate fees. At least so that you'll give some support to them. So it's small amount, like that small example I gave you. So like that, if everything put together, we can reach less than 10%. Otherwise, only by speaking on the speeches and talking on the platforms doesn't solve our problems. We have to go deeper in the subject. And as you know very well, today so many people have told open-heartedly. Of course, the tone was a little high, but you know, they had a real pain in this thing, because they faced a lot of problems during this COVID-19. So that is the reason, as rightly said, our senior custom officer, we were working 24/7 during COVID also. We are the only port, where New Mangalore port working day and night, on during COVID also. We didn't have any problem. We had a very good business also during COVID time. However, my point is very simple. Connectivity we have to do immediately, sir. So as you rightly said, clap. Our intention is we have to go deeper in the subject. any technical small problems should be set right so that it will be known to every individual, a common man of the shipping trade or exporter or importer, so that it will be implemented as soon as possible the new policy, which has to be taken care by all your bureaucrats, where our Prime Minister is keen to start immediately. There should not be delay. So that's the reason I want to tell you that we have to have certain things in our mind, that we have to improve this country, we have to copy it. I always used to say, last 40, 50 years, nobody bothered about the ports. Nobody bothered about the ports. They never say, of course they made the port, but how to develop the ports, how to encourage importer and exporter, nothing is happening. Now every day people started talking about the port, because port is the one get-in and gateway of India for the revenue collection, especially export-import goes up, our revenue collection of the US dollars will be hiked, and we will be the top leader, which we are, all politicians are thinking that this country should be top one and world leader in all the activities, including our export and import. You know very well, in export we are running in billions of dollars per year. So this we have to encourage them. But here what happened now since afternoon, most of the exporters are crying actually. We didn't have a facility. Now the time has been changed. I request all the shipping lines, especially my friend Captain is here, CMS AGM, she should compete with others. You should not be joined together and do a group, and you should give a good freight rates to our exporters and importers. They'll confirm you. 500 containers, 1,000 containers, you can have, as you rightly said, 1 year contract, 6 months contract, they're ready to sign. But only thing is, it should be economically feasible. Because as you know very well, end of the day, everybody will see the proper figure, how much my cost is from sending the cargo from his factory to the New Mangalore port. That also I was suggesting, why can't you go for CAF, so that freight also paid in India. As rightly said, now we are all opened a US dollar account. Now most of the freight and other things we are paying in US dollars only. So that is the reason when government is giving all the support to us, we should utilize it and see that everything goes normally. And our intention is, especially my request to all the port users as well as all the exporters, importers, we should support our logistics cost to bring down drastically, and so that my import and export deviating from Mangalore to other ports. I can give one small example, one more example because the time is running out. My exporter is there in Udupi. He prepares fish nuts, and he is sending all the cargo, average 18 to 20 containers from Udupi, which is 60 kilometers away from New Mangalore port. He is sending to Navasheva. I asked him why you are sending like that, because he was a very good customer, old customer for our company. He says, Shetty Saab, within 6 days my cargo will reach us Jubilee, and on the 7th day I'll get my payment. If I send it to Mangalore, it will take 12 to 15 days, so my money won't come there until he sees the container in Jubilee. So these are some technicality is there, which how best we can put together and solve this problem. We are trying, JSW was trying to get a regular feeder vessel, Mangalore to the Gulf also, so that slowly we have to do some solution, so that entire cargo, as I said about Vietnam and Bangladesh, they are sending all their cargo to Navasheva, where they get a $225. Here my lines are quoting $1,500, $1,600 per 20-foot containers. Just imagine. So after giving 1,200 kilometers, he goes by road, still he finds it is cheaper. So these are the things which I want to bring into a kind notice. Especially Mr. Kapil Mohan is a dynamic person, and he is well qualified also, and he has got this thing in the future, that he has got in some more years in service. So he has to think, especially for the minor ports. My only request is all the minor ports should be dredged properly. As you know very well, our first country in the first state in the country is Gujarat, who gave importance to the minor ports. Of course, now the major ports also come up a lot. Anyway, competition is there. Second is our Kerala. All the minor ports have started developing like anything. So they are developing everything because under Sagarmala, they want to have all connectivity with the small river and small ports, minor ports, so that their cargo activity will improve. Northern Kerala, most of the cargo was coming to Mangalore. Now it has all started going to minor ports. So they started operating the containers also in minor ports. Same way Mangalore, sir, old Mangalore port or Karwar or new ports which are coming up, Tadedi or this one, our Gangoli, The dredging is a must, sir, and you have to develop the connectivity. Earlier we used to call, when I was a minister, it's called Fisheries Road. Now that road has gone. We have to have a good connectivity, good roads, where our state and center for infrastructure, they are willing to spend any money. There is no bar for that. Only thing is it should be implemented in proper manner and proper use. Unnecessarily, we should not waste our money because it's a taxpayer's money. So that is the reason, once again, I thank all of you, especially our India Sea Trade. My friend is here. He's last so many years, he's slogging to do something to this trade. So especially shipping and logistics, especially in our South India. So that's the reason I congratulate him also, especially the chairman, president, our senior IAS officer, Sri N.K. Mohandas. Once again, I thank all of you, and we'll do jointly work together, see that this logistics cost will be brought down, and the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister has been fulfilled, including my new Mangalore port also. So, full chairman and the board of directors should, board of members should think very deeply how best we can improve this port and how best we bring more cargo to this port. And this port should not be vacant. It should be always 24/7 fully occupied. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Nagaraj Shetty. We are obviously behind schedule, but still I think we should have some time for questions, if any. So now it's open. So any questions? Yes, please. Here.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm sure with our leadership of Kapil Mohan IAS, I think we can, what we are hoping for the last several years, connecting to Mangalore port through Siradi Ghat and extra other, and this Ankola to Hubli connection. If it comes, our Mangalore port will have to double the traffic. Coming to railway, now our Sastri Sir told us that the Hassan route is running less than the capacity. Now we are booking fertilizers through earlier Hassan. It was reaching Sangli and other ports. The distance is covered only 798 kilometers. Now we are routing through Konkan. It's a compulsory that routing through Konkan. It is 1,500 kilometers. It is almost double the route. So the company is paying double the rate on freight. All the Maharashtra board. If that been taken care through Hassan, since we are below the capacity are running, I think we can improve the cargo traffic to Mangalore so that at least minimum 3-4 lakhs cargo will come more to Mangalore. I think you have to think on this. And moreover, all doubling the Konkan railway, it is from ages. It is running same thing. There is no change. From Mangalore to Goa, every route is doubled. Konkan railway. That has to be stopped. There should be a limit. How long you can continue this? Overcharging. So my request is, please consider taking cargo from Mangalore to Maharashtra borders, Sangli and other destinations through Hassan, where we can control the cost. So this is my request.
Thank you. Any? Yeah, yes, please, at the back. Yes.
Hello, my name is Avinash from Costa Enterprises. My question is for Rajesh sir. So recently the exemption of GST on freight was withdrawn by the government on 30th September. Is there any plans of reintroducing that so that to solve the liquidity challenges for exporters?
Yeah, I didn't get your name.
Avinash.
Yeah, Avinash. As you mentioned, recently there was a Supreme Court judgment, Mohit Minerals, based on which the ocean freight has been now rescinded. And we already started giving refunds for the ocean freights already paid by anyone and kept in their ITC. There is I am not aware of any moves to reintroduce the ocean freight. Where the Supreme Court judgment was quite clear, we cannot dual charge on taxation for the same freight because that is something which cannot be done. It is ultra virus in legal terms. I hope that replies.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no questions, yes, please. That's a suggestion.
Yeah, sir, good evening. I'm Devki Nandan from JSW. So, sir, Shastri sir, this question is to you. You were referring about the Mangalore-Hassan line underutilized. So, we have given a proposal, I think several times, that there is almost 2 to 3 rakes per day requirement is there. But their customers require at least 250 rupee discount because they are costlier by 250 rupee discount. And that's coming because of there is one particular 55-kilometer line which is being charged double. So as soon as charge double, it reaches to next level. So 174 rupees is increased by the railway. So if you can look up that one, probably you will get the cargo and customer will save a lot of money because they will be choosing this location rather than going to different state and it will be quite convenient. And your asset is already built, sir. And it has been not utilized actually. So it is almost a sunk cost you can say for many years. So we have given a perfect solution, but unfortunately it's not been accepted. Very small amount of discount for 20-25 rupees has been given, which is not which is actually not suitable for this purpose.
Discount is given. Some discount is given.
Sir, it is only 25 rupees while customer is looking for 250 rupees. We have written to the Mangalore Port Trust, and even as a JSW, we are ready to give discounts. However, all three of us, customer never gives a single penny more. As we have heard from the morning, everybody is talking about cost. So customer, if his cost is increasing, he is not interested in that solution. So we have to give the cost which is not making his cost higher. And we are ready as a JSW, but we need your help to make it workable, sir.
Everybody will make sacrifices.
No, you are talking about coal.
Yes. No, any other commodity, sir.
No, mostly you want to transport coal.
Sir, as a port, I don't want to transfer. My customers want.
No, whatever it is, coal,
Yes.
no concessions for anybody. It is not my decision. It is minister's decision.
Sir, you have given 25 rupees instead
That
of...
is not me. It is Hassan Mangalore Rail Development Company to attract traffic. They said you take 25%. From their amount they are giving.
Okay.
That's all. It is HMRDC, the proposal, not our proposal.
So with permission of Shastri ji, former chairman of Hassan Mangalore Rail Development Corporation, the issue is this has been done to death, Devaki, you know it. And but my only point in this is, we will not go into railway board, its policies and so on and so forth, is that why in the earth we should carry any cargo for a longer length when a shorter option is available. And I think that rationale and logic is still yet to be appreciated. We can go about policies. Policies are made. Policies do not come from heaven. So that if that logic is appreciated, I guess your issues would be resolved. I'm afraid that logic is not yet appreciated.
Sir, it is the 55 kilometer which is doubling. It is because of that it is going to next level by only few kilometers.
भाई उसका भी लॉजिक ऐसा नहीं है, बेचारे शास्त्री साहब को क्यों बुरा बना रहे हो? वो 55 किलोमीटर का ग्रेडियंट ज़्यादा है, उसकी ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट ज़्यादा होती है, इसलिए दुगना चार्ज करते हैं. जितना खर्चा होगा उतना ज़्यादा लेंगे. लेकिन मतलब if मैं हासन मैंगलोर की तरफ से देखता हूँ, when I was chairman, I would always say, how does it matter to me, right? As long as I make a plus, we all know marginal costing, basic costing, blah blah blah. But this goes contrary to the railway's position, and they would not like to. I guess there must be some issues on that. I don't like to go into railway boards thinking about movement of cargo. But yes, but finally, in the end of the day, what we should say from this forum today is, why on earth, because of some policy requirement, we should be in a situation where we end up carrying coal for a longer distance when a shorter distance is available. I mean, that is the logic, right? So.
Thank you. So before we conclude, I would request Mr. Sivasailam to add a couple of valuable points to whatever we discussed today.
Thank you, sir. This was a session on multimodality, and one aspect of multimodality I had covered in the inaugural address, which was relating to creation of the logistics parks, which are essentially multimodal. And I told you that unless and until you decide where you want the multimodal parks, or where you want the rail-based multimodal parks, where you want the road-based, that is the a simple what I would call dry ports, you're not going to go far, because the decision as such of selection is left to the local environment. So that is an area which I thought I'll reiterate. The important thing is, all of us love Mangalore. There's no doubt about it. But you see the developments taking place across the coast. What's happening in Cochin? You're going to have a 23-meter draft port. You're going to have ocean-going vessels coming out there. And if you ask me, as thinking from India, I would like to have Cochin as the gateway of India. I would like to have all ships unloading at Cochin and transferring it through Southern Railway to any part of India. Maybe run one container train every hour instead of running. I think that's the way to look at. When you look at it in this manner, you will have to decide where the position of Bangalore will be. One of the things which you can is create an hinterland about which we will come, get to Mangalore and go either side. So that's the way to go. So you actually will gain the best of coastal trade. You also will gain the best of international trade, because you have a point of entry. After that you are through. So when you say multimodal, it doesn't mean that every time the mode should shift, but you need to look at what's happening in the hinterland. So I don't think we are in a position to compete with Kochi, with the 23-meter port coming, and proposal for the existing Kochi port also to go down to a 19 or 21, for which DP World is, I think, working on it. So you're going to have a totally different scenario. And any one of you here will agree that if you want a ship coming to India, don't go to Nhava Sheva. Stop it at Kochi and run it. And that's the best for the country, because our country is like this. So you have... But we'll lose our business. No, you won't. You won't lose your business. In fact, it will be far more efficient, because you are getting into a ship. You are getting into a ship. As far as you are concerned, your cargo is loaded. Now, whether they go to Nhava Sheva and transship on a ship-to-ship transshipment, or they go to Cochin and do a ship-to-ship transshipment, is their lookout. As to how they have a transshipment facility is their lookout. You don't need to pay for it. But you will actually, the costs are likely to go down if you start working out that way with what I would call interport cooperation. But the writing is on the wall, and there's no point in trying to stand here and then be blind to what's happening elsewhere. What to do with Mangalore port? You have a certain cargo which was coming in. He mentioned coking coal. I think VSB Containers is also in that business. I mean, getting containers, specialized containers for coking coal. That can be a wonderful business for this port, because coking coal is a product which India will import for eternity. We don't have coking coal. If the steel program is to be supported, if the manufacture of steel in India has to be promoted or protected, you need to have coking coal coming from abroad. There is no escape from it. So that's a long-term possibility for this port, and that's important. Then I think we should, the third aspect of multimodality is doubling the line. They said Bhasan-Mangalore line. I mean, I can only give you this matter was examined by me as Forest Secretary. I had an occasion to look into it. Now, if I tell you what is the proposal, all of you will just throw me out of this room. The whole of the Western Ghats will get destroyed. You go for a doubling line with the type of speeds which you want. You don't want a doubling line to see the sky, do you? You want a doubling line to reach Bangalore in 4 hours, 5 hours. If you're talking of the existing route and doubling that, your Western Ghats is going to go. Just imagine going from here to Ankola, cutting across the Western Ghats. Not much of Western Ghats will remain. If you talk about 6-lane highways on the Western Ghats, running on top of it with all its international specifications, so that our cars go free. The Western Ghats will go. And none of the, I don't think I can even make a proposal to the audience here that the Western Ghats should be destroyed. But yes, is there a solution? The answer is yes. You need to think of a new line, tunnel through. That's the only solution. In fact, one of the earliest proposals for the Hubli-Ankola tunneling was actually proposed by me when I was in the Bangalore Metro, because the first tunneling in the state was done by me. So, I mean, possibly you can say among the blind, the one-eyed is the king. So I was the one-eyed fellow, and I was the king, who knew much more than anybody else, possibly at that time. But then, tunneling is a solution. A similar view was taken. What's happening in the northeast? They have abandoned building roads on this thing. They're just tunneling through. It's safe for the mountains because you are building the structures. So my solution, submission to the industry fraternity, several of you might be members of the Canara Chamber of Commerce, a lot of you would be members. Please look at the tunneling solution. It's far more simple. It will not destroy your ghats because it will always go through the existing thing. Go, get into the tunnel, come out nearby, and the amount of land which is going to be destroyed is minuscule. Maybe at the entry, because you need to have an entry to the tunnel and you need to have an exit. Maybe at some place you need to create that thing so that you have an air pocket. So those are the only areas where you need to go. And I would strongly advise the chambers to look into it, because these proposals cannot come from individuals. It has to come from chambers, and the chambers will have to build public opinion, because it is possible that once you say, I'm going to destroy the Western Ghats, you may not have supporters in your home. It's as an issue not just in this place, but all over the state. So Western Ghats is something you can't get anything through. But if you are able to do a technical solution, a technical yardstick, and get people around you to say and be upfront that this is the amount of forest which we are going to destroy, maybe about 20 acres, 20 hectares, 40 hectares, or even 100 hectares, does not matter. But you know the limit of your damage. Whereas the going on the existing doubling and all our proposals, which can never meet, I mean, forget about public, going to public. It will not meet even bureaucratic and political support at the proposal stage. I thought I'll mention that to you. There are two important initiatives which I thought I'll mention on the multimodality. One is, I mean, we were talking about port cooperation. Is it possible to introduce a DPD parking facility organized by the trade at New Mangalore Port? Why not think about the drivers who stay, we say it is raining. They are asked to stay at a place where there is no light. Who is looking after the drivers? They are an essential part of our ecosystem. And they are just lying in filth, let me tell you that. It's a sight to be seen. I would request each one of you to see the conditions in which your drivers live in New Mangalore Port. It's pitiable. And that's how this profession of truck driving is only next to prostitution. Those who are among the males who are unfit for anything take driving as a profession. I think you need to change that. Why not make a start doing a DPD? All of you are going to benefit. It's easy, but you can't do a DPD without doing a parking facility. Because what happens is, the details from the ship are available with the port not 1 day in advance. It's available with the port 7 days in advance, including the unloading of the containers, the sequence of unloading of the containers is available at the port 7 days in advance. Now, what are you doing with that information? You know which container is a DPD. You know which container has got to go to a CFS for inspection. You know which containers have to stay in the port, or which containers have to be going by railways. All these are known upfront. This information needs to be collated, but who is going to do it? Shipping lines won't do it. Why should they do it? They will charge demurrages, and according to me, they should charge you more for failing to do this business. You need to get the act in order. The industry should say, get the port, say that this is the system which we want. We want a DPD / parking so that my vehicle will be parked, and then it will be sequenced so that when the hook comes down and my DPD container is there, it will go straight into my container and I go off. If it's going to be a CFS, the CFS truck will be there and it will go to the CFS. It's going to be parked at port. The port will make arrangements to put it into the yard. So all those arrangements need to be done because you have an interest. You don't expect government to do it. I have no interest. You don't expect the port to do it. Port doesn't have an interest. You have an interest. The industry has an interest. The freight forwarders has an interest. The customs brokers have an interest. You must say, sorry, we want to have our portal and we want to integrate it. You need to provide us that information which you have got 7 days in advance. This I thought I'll inform you. But is it happening? Yes. In the JNPT, we are having an initiative with ITWA. ITWA, which is the All India Transport Welfare Association Union of Trucks, they are developing the parking think platform. Sanjay Sethi is extremely enthusiastic about it. He's also participating in this project, and he says that from my side, I will also make a contribution. And whatever information is there will be loaded, uploaded, including changes. It is possible then for you to get the trucks, inform the trucks through email so that they are put into the parking bay. From the parking bay, they will form the sequence and then they go ahead. So that's possible, but you need to take an initiative. The last which I wanted to say is, the same goes with containers. All containers coming into this country or all imported products, they need to be watched. Every minute of it, they need to be watched. The industry must ask for the details, that it should be made public, so that you know which container is available where. And this is a right as a citizen. But you must exercise that right. You must ask customs, this is a customs product. If it's a container, which is a customs bonded thing, its movement must be tracked. And the industry must join together and hold. Then your container availability problem is solved. Because in India, we have imports much more than exports. So where is the question of lack of containers? It is an artificial scarcity. I also know, you also know. He has also been food minister. I have also been food secretary. We have been deputy commissioners. We know food shortages, how it is done. It's basically lack of information. Or people holding information to make money. So you must ask for this. These are low-hanging fruits. But industry has to take the lead because you are going to get the benefit. Now, I am not going to do it. I as a shipping line will not do it for you. You need to demand it. And you need to put the thing for the common good. All of you are there. But these are all small investments which will yield you a whole lot of benefits for the trade. And definitely costs are impacted by it. And you should take advantage of it. Yes, container availability is an issue which you are working with. But not yet decided. But if Mangalore comes forward, I think we can make it start from here. Because Mangalore, Kochi are all ports where this problem is there. Container is available in Bangalore, but the container is imported from Jabal Ali. Now what do you say of that? We have to blame ourselves for not having designed the system. Because once you are having a imported product, you are entitled to control it. You are entitled to control its movement. If it has to go back, let it go back, no problem. But please understand that money is made in the transit even in Indian trade. And we are not objecting to that because containers are useful. Why not use it? If it's available for a 6-month period in our country, why not we use it? But let us use it to benefit our exports also. That's the way I'm looking at it. I thought I'll give you a flavor of what can be done by the industry, which is such low-hanging fruit. We are in the capital. I mean, this is also an extension of the software capital of Bangalore. And Infosys is also here. A lot of tech guys here, a lot of tech startups, companies are also here. You get them through your institution, and we should be on in 2 months, 3 months. That's the way I will like to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sivasailam. So that brings us to the end of this session. Deepa.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the plenary session of Cargo Connections Conclave 2022. Thank you, gentlemen, for that amazing discussion and interesting conversation. And thank you for your active participation, dear audience. Before we wind up, of course, I'd like to invite, as the status is for all our other sessions, I'd like to invite Mohandas sir to kindly give away mementos to the remaining panelists. Mohandas sir, of course, represents India Seatrade, and so I'd like to invite him to hand over mementos to our guests, to our panelists of this session. First, to receive the memento, I'd like to invite Mr. Satya Pratap Shastri, IRTS. May I request you to kindly come forward and receive the memento? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Satya Pratap Shastri. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I'd like to invite Mr. Kapil Mohan, IAS CEO, Karnataka Maritime Board, and Additional Chief Secretary, Revenue Department, Government of Karnataka. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I'd like to now invite Mr. Nagraj Shetty, Managing Director, Sri Ganesh Shipping Agencies, and former Minister of Karnataka. May I request you to kindly receive the memento? Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Rajesh Pujari, Assistant Commissioner, GST Commissionerate, Mangalore. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And of course, Mr. N. Sivasailam, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the panel and sharing your valuable insights with us today. Thank you very much. We would also like to thank Dr. A.V. Ramana and Mr. Surendra Ahirwar for joining us online. And of course, may I request all of you to kindly pose for a quick photograph, the entire panel, for a photograph with Mohandas sir. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the panelists of our plenary session of the Cargo Connections Conclave 2022. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Mohandas sir, could you kindly stay back? Thank you so much, gentlemen. We will now proceed towards honoring our esteemed sponsors, without whom this business summit would never ever have been possible. And so it's definitely not fair to conclude the event without remembering their gracious support. I'd like to invite Mohandas sir to hand over the mementos to our sponsors. May I request our guests to kindly be seated? Yes, thank you so much. Kindly be seated, sir. We are proceeding towards honoring our sponsors of the event. Thank you so much. Okay. As I call out the names of the sponsors, I request the representative to kindly come forward and accept the memento from Mohandas sir. First, New Mangalore Port Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to appreciate all the support by New Mangalore Port Authority to this, the 3rd edition of Cargo Connections Conclave. Thank you so much. The next sponsor, JSW Infrastructure. May I request the representative from JSW Infrastructure to kindly come forward. Thank you so much for all your support towards the event and towards India Seatrade. Transworld Group. May I request the representative from Transworld Group to kindly come forward? Transworld Group. Yes. much, gentlemen, for all your support. Thank you so much. The next sponsor we'd like to honor is Bhavani Shipping Services. May I request the representative from Bhavani Shipping Services to kindly come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I do understand it's dinner time and all of us are hungry, but we definitely should not hold back on the applause for sponsors, because without them, we would never be able to get here today. So let's please appreciate them. Thank you so much. Let's move on to Sri Ganesh Shipping. May I request the representative from Sri Ganesh Shipping to kindly come forward. Yes, sir. Kindly receive the memento. Thank you for all your support, sir. Thank you. Moving on to Pushpak Logistics Solutions. Pushpak Logistics Solutions. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And thank you for all your support. Moving on to Dene Logistics Private Limited. Thank you for all your support, Dene Logistics Private Limited. Next, Ship Stores and Spears. May I request the representative from Ship Stores and Spears to kindly come forward. Thank you for your support. Coral Shipping Services. May I request the representative from Coral Shipping Services to kindly walk up to the stage and receive the memento. Thank you so much for all your support. That's Coral Shipping Services. Now may I request the representative from Shravan Shipping Services to kindly come forward. Shravan Shipping Services. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Shravan Shipping Services. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. And thank you for all your support towards the event. KR Carriers. May I request the representative from KR Carriers? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our sponsor, KR Carriers. Akash Shipping Agencies. Akash Shipping Agencies. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's Akash Shipping Agencies, one of our sponsors receiving the memento. Thank you so much. Marine Link. May I request the representative from our sponsor, Marine Link, to kindly come forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much for all your support, Marine Link. Mangalore Steamer Agents Association. Mangalore Steamer Agents Association. Yes. Thank you so much, Mangalore Steamer Agents Association, for all your support towards this conclave. Thank you so much. And of course, Federation of Indian Export Organization, FIO. May I request the representative from FIO to kindly come forward? Thank you so much, FIO, for all your support towards the event. Thank you. Thank you, Mohandas, sir, for doing the honors. Kindly be seated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, can we have one more loud round of applause for our beloved sponsors for all their support towards this conclave that made us come together and enjoy the evening. So thank you so much, and we look forward to your continued support. And ladies and gentlemen, before I move on to the vote of thanks, I'd like to just remind you to collect your delegate bags if you haven't already. So please contact our reception, and your delegate bags are ready there if you haven't done it already. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to request Mr. Walter D'Souza to kindly come forward for the concluding remarks and propose vote of thanks for the evening. Over to you, sir.
I'm sure all of you know what Sudhir told me, whispered in my ears, a few words only, sir. I must say, after an absorbing afternoon, my heart is full. For various reasons. We have had very meaningful interaction. So much has been deliberated. More than that, my heart is full because the house is full. Normally at this session, no, how people do not come back. That means so much of interest is there and sustained interest. Having said that, in the immediate post-independent era, our nation came out with a slogan, export or perish. And people started exporting and quite a few of them perished because we did not have a policy in place. There was no proactive support. Over the period, over decades, there has been a change and things and incentives have been in place and we started exporting and flourishing also, not to say no. This conclave has thrown so much light that so much needs to be done and so much has not been done. Let me come from Sri Shailam's remark saying that we all knew that the fruits were there in the tree. But he is the one who told us today that they are so low that you can pluck it with your hands. I am sure we will put all your thoughts together and make sure that it becomes cost effective for the exempt trade. Exempt trade is not a domestic trade. We have to have the level playing field at the global level, and this particular forum has come out with so many suggestions that over a period of time we can make our exports more competitive so that we get the lion's share in the export global trade. A few suggestions which have been coming from the FIUO. The one is to Mr. Kapil Mohan. Now, inland waterways are to be tapped. And to start with, probably from Mangalore, you could have a small feeder line to take the containers which are moving to North Kannada, Uttar Kannada district. Because in Mangalore, when we introduced the containers, the first ship carried only 13 TEUs, 13. And today it has gone to such a level that the slowly trade in that area will be developed. It will not take much efforts, I feel. Then we have had a lot of insights about the exchange rate, exorbitant rate being charged. And all the sessions, we had one point which came to the prominence was about the logistics cost and the need to improve supply chain resilience. Supply chain resilience can come only when the logistic costs are reasonable. And there are ways and means by which this logistics cost could be reduced to a pragmatic level. I'm sure this will be implemented. We have had other sessions. All our panelists have given us insights into what can be done and how we could be global superpowers in the exempt trade. The FIUO thanks all of them, all of you, for your insights into what we need to do. And in particular, FIUO was there with India Sea Trade when we launched the very first conclave. Sudhir will remember, the very first conclave we launched. I was the chairman of FIUO. I had the privilege of interacting with them, that we were interacting, and they have contributed very much. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to India Sea Trade, President Mr. Mohan Das and all the others. Now, when it comes to a very relevant point was made about privatization. With the privatization, a comparison was brought about the privatization of ports and privatization of Indian skies. Two things happened. When the Indian skies were privatized, the cost came down. There was competition among all other airlines, and instead of flying only on Indian Airlines at that time, there was a choice of half a dozen or a dozen airlines which were flying, and all of them brought the cost down. But when ports are privatized, the costs have gone up by 25 to 30 or even more %, which is not fair. So therefore, ways and means will have to be in place by which we are able to bring our cost to a reasonable level. Therefore, when it comes to one point that has emerged here and which needs to be implemented is regulation with respect to the ocean freights. and having a ceiling fixed. Because without that, I think the shipping lines will take us for a ride. I'm sure the sessions have gone on so well that we are enriched and we will take the EXIM trade to greater heights. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was an amazing and interesting lineup of sessions today. I'm sure you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. Thank you so much on behalf of India Sea Trade and FIO. I'd like to thank all the panelists and all of you for being such a great audience, and of course, all our sponsors for your gracious support once again. Thank you all panelists for sharing your views with us. And with that, we come to a close. Have a wonderful evening, and we will meet again next year with the next edition of the Cargo Connections Conclave 2023, hopefully. Thank you so much.